And blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning here. Phone number is 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Joining us now is Dr. Tommy Ahlquist. Dr. Ahlquist, good to have you with us.
Good morning, Kevin.
So,
how are you?
I'm not bad. How goes the race, sir?
It's going great. We're over in Idaho Falls this morning and just on the road, Kevin, nonstop. You know how it goes.
Indeed. When you take a look at where do you see yourself right now, do you see the race tightening, sir?
Well, I believe me, we got a lot of texts and calls in from your show yesterday. There's a lot of opinions on the race, but we feel very, very good about where we are. We have just over 30 days left, and I think you can tell from all the rhetoric out there that people are getting worried and starting to come unhinged a little bit. We feel very, very good about where we are, and we're going to take this thing home. Just 30 days to go.
What are you hearing on the trail, sir?
Well, we've I think last time I told you this, we've kind of never stopped touring the state. I think this election will be run by grassroots work around the state, and we've known that all along. Idaho is a unique place where we still believe that people want to shake your hand, look you in the eye, trust you, and know who you are, and that's why we've never stopped for 14 months going around the state. I mean, we've been back to Soda Springs for the 7th time a couple of weeks ago. I mean, we've been to these smaller towns where people have felt forgotten for years. We've met with them over and over and over again. We've answered questions. As you know, last fall we did that 44-county tour in 44 days and held a town hall and handed out our conservative principles, our blueprint for an even better Idaho. We've answered questions. We haven't hid from anything, and the people of Idaho know that. Kevin, we're taking on. People ask me what the biggest surprise for me has been. Here's my surprise. I thought I was taking on Raul Labrador and Brad Little. I'm taking on their political machines that have been in place, status quo political machines for years. And it's tough, and you don't sign up for this if you're not ready for what's coming your way. But the people of Idaho, I believe in them, and the enthusiasm's real. We feel fantastic about what we're seeing, what we're feeling, both in the polls and especially out with voters, which is where we spend our time. I spend my time with voters, and that's the beautiful thing about this thing is they're the ones that get to decide.
Dr. Tommy Ahlquist joining us here at KIDO Talk Radio. When we talk about the vision, let's talk a little bit about your economic forecast. And people have said that with these ads, that you're going to raise taxes. You and I have talked for years on this. That's not the case, is it?
Oh, Kevin, it is, frustrating is not the word. It's just a political game these guys play. I asked either one of them to find where I've said that. It's just not true. It's just absolutely not true. I mean, the fact that these ads are running on your station that I'm going to raise taxes on haircuts and farm equipment. Come on, give me a break. That's exactly opposite than what we've been saying. And as you know, every time I've been on one of the exercises we've been going through the last year is writing a business plan for every agency of state government. There is so much wasted taxpayer dollars, our dollars. These guys need to pay more taxes. That's what they need to do. And they would understand what it's like to government has one source of money, Kevin. That's ours. And we need to spend that money right and invest it properly. We're going to cut taxes. We made our promise, $100 million. We're going to identify in the first 100 days. That's going to be easy. And we're going to go through this budget line item by line item when we get our nose fully under the circus tent, because it is a circus tent. And we look at the way tax dollars are being spent, and we're going to invest them wisely. But I challenge them to find where we've said that. It's just not true. But it's not the only things that aren't true that come up every day. My family and I, we just have to shake our heads. For 14 months, it's been the same thing. It's been these attacks. It's been the same things over and over again. We address the issues, but it's not about issues with these guys. It's not about issues. This is politics, and people get that, I think, but until you get right in it and you take on these political machines, I don't think you fully understand. I sure understand now, but despite all that, Kevin, this election is about the future of Idaho. It is about the future of Idaho, and we're going to win this thing because of hard work and the people of Idaho. And every time I get down, when I start thinking about the politics of it, all I need to do is go to the next event and hear from the people. These people, one of the stories from the last couple of weeks, I was with a mom who looked at me and said, "Listen, I want you to listen to me for a minute." She said, "I have 2 kids, my husband's a school teacher, and I can't afford health insurance." And this open a small business so I could support my family. And she said, if the government ran a small business for one day, things would be different. That's who I want to serve. The people of Idaho that are ready for conservative solutions, that are ready for solutions instead of sound bites. These guys are used to sound bites. We're going to have solutions that are conservative. I can't wait to leave.
Dr. Tommy Ahlquist joining us here at KIDO Talk Radio. You know, yesterday, Dr. Ahlquist, Congressman Labrador had this to say concerning you and your campaign.
I am the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, Subcommittee on Immigration. I have sponsored the most conservative pieces of legislation in Congress. In fact, in Washington, D.C., they call me extreme on immigration. And I come home, and you have a multimillionaire going around lying to people about my record on immigration.
Your thoughts, sir?
You know, Kevin, I heard that he had a lot to say. He always does. And I'm just not going to, the fact that he calls the liar everywhere we go, he needs to look back at himself. You know, a lot of these attacks that they're having on me, the interesting thing, the irony and the hypocrisy, it's the same exact attack they attacked President Trump with. You look down the list of the attacks on me, it's the same exact thing. And these guys hate it. They hate when they've got a record. They've got a record. And I understand they don't want to look at it. No, Congressman Labrador's been there 8 years. And of course, in a primary election like this that's so important for the state, that record's going to be examined. And I understand why he doesn't like that. But again, this election's about the future of Idaho. This is about where we're going. And unfortunately, when you go through politics, records get exposed and that's the way it is.
Dr. Tommy Ahlquist joining us here
on the positive
from Idaho Falls on the trail. Before we get to some phone calls, let's get back to the positive agenda. What's at stake at this election, sir? What happens after Butch Otter leaves? What's the future for Idaho?
Kevin, here's kind of what I would tell everyone listening out there today. If you're okay with the status quo, I mean, that's what we've got right now. We've got essentially a one-party system, a good old boy system, the status quo. I just think that's not good enough for our people. It may be good enough for career politicians. It's not good enough for us. You look at where we rank at our vision on tax policy. If you look where we need to be as a state so that we can keep our kids here, this is all about keeping our kids in Idaho, keeping Idaho, and taking care of small businesses and families, regardless of the size of their business or the size of the town they live in. That's what this election's about. And there's choices. And I believe that taking on career politicians, one from Washington, D.C., and one from here, it's tough. It's hard. But I know when given this shot here in a few weeks that the people of Idaho are going to respond and allow us to go forward and actually provide and deliver conservative solutions. That's what will keep us great as a state. Can you imagine in just a few years if in Idaho we actually are delivering health care to our people because of policies that are conservative and get back to the principles that have made us great as a country, where we can deliver healthcare at cost with transparency? That's completely out of the system. These guys are trying to be solutions to the problems they've caused. And we need fresh ideas and a new approach to this to make it happen. And we can do it right here in Idaho on healthcare, on education. But it's time to get action, new ideas, and a fresh approach to this. And I believe that's what people are waiting for.
Dr. Ahlquist with us, Kevin Miller in the morning here at KIDO Talk Radio. The allegations of cronyism within the Otter administration, many people want a clean sweep if elected. Are the lobbyists out? Are the old boys out? People wonder if elected, will you do that?
Oh, my goodness, Kevin. I can't wait. I knew it was bad before I started. It's worse than I thought it was. Anyone that's around this system, this machine, this political machine, it's been there forever. They brag about it, that, hey, we run this place. We control this place. It's just not right. I would tell the people of Idaho this. Every once in a while, the needs of those small businesses and those little families around this state line up with the lobbyists and special interest group in the state, and that's good for you. But when it doesn't, they don't care, and that's a problem. It is time to start making every decision about what's best for the families and the small business of Idaho. And if we do that, you watch us thrive, because it is the small businesses of Idaho. That's where the economy rests on the backs of those businesses that are paying taxes, that are working their tails off day in and day out. And it's time to get rid of this cronyism and what goes on every day down there to allow those families to thrive. And that's what this election's about. This election's about the future of Idaho and given the chance. This is why we need term limits, Kevin. Now, people, one of the funniest things I've heard so far is, well, we have term limits. They're called elections. Baloney. Try to take on this establishment. Try to take on, the same thing President Trump took on. You look at what he took on from the left and the right, all of the money and the big business money behind these traditional politicians. It's tough. But we're tough enough. We got a great team, and that's why we're doing it.
It's a lot of Diet Cokes, I would imagine.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, at some point I've got to give my kidneys a break when this is over, but it's keeping me fueled, I'll tell you that.
Indeed. Let's go to Derek in Parma for Dr. Ahlquist at KIDO Talk Radio. Hello, Derek.
Oh, hey, Kevin. Hey, Dr. Ahlquist. I was listening to your interview, and I like your positive view on how you're talking about what can be done in Idaho, and it just seems like it doesn't quite square with. There's just been so many deeply negative ads on the other guys from your camp. It just doesn't square with when I hear you speak. I mean, how do you square up this? These really, all these attack ads in mail and on the radio and everywhere else with the attitude that you have, that you project in person. How do you square that up?
Well, again, thanks for the call. I can understand from your perspective how it might seem like that. We've ran positive ads for 14 months. And I'll tell you what, if you were in my position and dealt with what I've been dealing with from these campaigns for 14 months, you'd probably feel different. I'll tell you, even yesterday, can you imagine this? One of their strongest supporters, one of their biggest supporters, came out with an attack that I was a racist, with a horrible image and picture. And I was on my way to school yesterday morning with my daughter in the car. And that's the first thing we're talking about is this, Daddy, are you a racist? And with just a horrible image. This stuff has been happening for 14 months. Now, I know
but it seems like you kind of just jumped right into the water and are doing the exact same thing. I mean, I don't see your stuff is more acerbic and negative. You have there's that piece out there that says Congressman Labrador passed zero legislation. I mean, it seems like you just jumped right into the water with these guys and are doing the exact same thing.
Well, I'll just to be clear, there's a PAC that we have absolutely no connection with that's running ads, and then we have ours. And I agree that it may not feel good to point out the differences in them, but this is an important election. And when they've been doing this for 14 months, we're going to point out the record. And we don't see these as negative ads. We see them as contrast ads. And I'll tell you what, again, we've got events all this week. Come to an event, meet me, look me in the eye, hear the vision for Idaho. We are so positive. These ads are ads and there's politics, but we're going to win this thing because of grassroots roots and hard work. We're going to win this because we are talking about the vision of Idaho, but this is politics, and it won't replace the hard work that we've been doing for 14 months. And I'll tell you what, our work's been genuine. It's been authentic. We've been connecting with the people of Idaho, and that's how we're going to win.
Derek, thank you for the call. A lot of folks that have met you, they're amazed that you listen to people, and you've been listening for 16, 18. It seems like 3 years now. And that's a big deal for a leader to listen.
Yeah, Kevin, people say that to me all the time, but I don't. That's just the way. I mean, that's the way it should be, right? Yeah. I can't tell you how many times. In fact, just yesterday we had a debate over here, televised forum over here in Idaho Falls, and afterwards I stayed with a gentleman for about a half an hour who had a significant issue. This guy had an issue that he wanted fixed in Idaho, and he was frustrated. And at the end of it, he grabbed me and he said, look me in the eye, because I want you to look me in the eye and promise me, because I'm so tired of having people say one thing and do another. Promise me you're not going to be like the rest of them. And I need, we need to stay true to who we are. That's what I will do. That's what I've done. That's what you do in the real world when you get in. And the next thing, that's exactly why we need change. That's exactly why we need some fresh looks at these things. And it's why we need term limits, by the way, too. When you're in there too long, I always tell people, you get in there past, 2 terms, you're going to start developing the same relationships that get us in trouble now. We need change. We need term limits, the way that our forefathers intended this thing to be run, not by career politicians.
Dr. Tommy Ahlquist joining us here at KIDO Talk Radio. One final call, and I'm sure you've got a roll, Dr. Ahlquist. This is a Christian in Weiser. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Okay, Christian, go ahead, please.
So you questioned Labrador's, strength on being against immigration or for immigration. Do you have anything specific that you found that you can tell us that shows that he's not strong on immigration?
Well, for me to sit and talk about him on this show, I just don't want to do that.
Well, in fairness, he talked about you a lot yesterday.
Yeah, but you know what? You look back at his record. He was an immigration lawyer before. He's a lawyer. He's an attorney. He was an immigration lawyer. Fought to keep people here. Now he's in Congress. He's a politician. He's running for governor. It's just different what he says now and what he did then, right? That's the difference. What he says now and what he did then.
You do have specifics, or you have things that you've seen that show that he is saying one thing and doing another.
Yeah, and if you look on every ad that's run by our campaign, not by others, but on our campaign, every single thing is cited with the source. You can go look up that source. Again, Kevin, I appreciate you letting me get on to respond to him. I would just, in closing, just maybe say this, that this is an experience that, you hear people all the time say, hey, we need real world leadership. We need someone that can get in from the real world with experiences and help the people of Idaho. So you jump in. It's politics. My goodness. If I had any idea how bad this was, you probably are naive getting into it. But I'll tell you what, every single time that it's hard, and it's hard because of all this back and forth, and they've been doing it for 14 months. 14 months. What gets me going are the people of Idaho. They are desperate for change. If you look at just health care, if we can you imagine if we can deliver health care at the cost? Everyone sitting out there today, if you had premiums that were 40, 50, 60% less, what that would do for your small business and your family immediately, you could make the argument that 6 or 7 years people haven't had a raise because every dime that's gone into your paycheck has gone into health care. Look at education. How long can we do the same thing? How long is the status quo okay for Idaho? It's not. We have great people. We have the ability to lead the nation in the way we provide vocational education to our people. You think of the things that we can do, and I promise this, that there will be a governor sitting in that capital that works as hard as the people of Idaho and instead of having a no-door policy, Open Door has a no-door where we're representing the people of Idaho. That's what I'm doing this for. It's tough. It's hard. The same attacks they did with President Trump, the same things he's facing every day from both parties. It's both parties that are beating him up, and it's both parties. You look at what's going on here in this state. These are political machines. We're tough enough to take them on. We're having to spend money. We're trying to equalize 29 years to level the playing field. We get it, but we're in it, and we're going to spend the rest of this next month with the people of Idaho spreading our vision for what we can become, even a better Idaho, and it's going to work. So thank you for letting me come on and give a counter to everything that was talked about yesterday. I want to talk about the one thing I'd ask people to do. We're talking about solutions for Idaho. We are in Idaho. The problems in Idaho. I'll talk health care. I'll talk education. I'll talk small business, tax policy, infrastructure with anyone because that's what we've been doing. We're about solutions, not sound bites. We're about making this thing happen. So thanks for letting me come on today, Kevin.
Dr. Ahlquist, would you do it all over again?
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. There are moments when I didn't need to do this. When there are moments like yesterday morning when I'm driving to school with my daughter and she's looking at a picture of a KKK guy from one of these guys attacking me that I'm a racist, and I have to look over at her and say, "Honey, you know me. This is all part of this game." And there are times like that where I wonder what I'm doing, but absolutely, we need real world leadership in this state and this country. We always talk about it all the time about getting people in that actually represent the people. I'm going to do it. I understand that we're taking on machines, but that's okay. It's going to be worth it.
Yeah, no, I didn't know about that. My question was how was the race going? Not that, but the opening question. We look forward to having you back, and good luck on the trail, sir.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Have a great day.
All right, Dr. Ahlquist joining us. Your reaction next. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Kevin Miller in the morning here, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone numbers 580-5436. 580-KIDO. Pretty interesting conversation with Dr. Ahlquist responding to Congressman Labrador. We had meant to play more of the clips from you. We'll share that with you as well. And the idea, by the way, of negative ads or truth-telling ads or whatever you want to call those ads is a topic of a recent blog at KIDO Talk Radio. We would love for you to check that out at 580-5436. 580-KIDO. We will take a look at a couple other issues, of course. The President of the United States, he's a little upset, rightfully so. We'll take your calls on that. I sit back and I take a look at this, and it's just utterly amazing. By the way, I do want to remind you, coming up on Thursday, we're going to be at Meridian Technical Charter School, courtesy of Cap Ed and Team Mazda Subaru, promoting our school, securing our future as the school season continues to wind down. Our season is just winding up. We're looking forward to that. Also, Thursday is your home for Thank You Thursdays, and this is where you can listen for your chance to win an hour massage. That's right. You can de-stress yourself, and that's brought to you by Massage Envy. And we'll also have a prize pack for you to win from the Idaho Lottery, and some other prizes as well. Just our way of thanking you for always being there for us at KIDO Talk Radio and telling a friend and the like. Other news of the day, Paulette Jordan, and by the way, this is interesting. We've sent some overtures to Representative Jordan. We've sent some overtures to A.J. Belukoff to try and get them on the air, and we haven't heard from them. And people say, well, Kevin, you've played this wrong once again. You make fun of the progressives. You make fun of the liberals, and why should they come on this show? Because, well, not everybody agrees with the callers of this show. Not everybody agrees with the views of the host. But so it's going to be a kind of a toss-up to see who comes on first, whether it will be Representative Jordan or our old friend A.J. Belukoff.
College football's defending national champion Alabama Crimson Tide will visit the White House today for an afternoon greeting from President Trump. Some players from championship teams like the NBA's Golden State Warriors and the NFL's Philadelphia Eagles didn't hesitate to say they would not visit the White House, but one Alabama player telling a Crimson Tide football blog that head coach Nick Saban told the team that they were all going regardless of anyone's political thoughts. It's Alabama's second trip to the White House in the last 3 years. Paul Stevens, Fox News.
And joining us now, the co-chair of the National Republican Party, Bob Paduchik. Mr. Paduchik, thank you for joining us.
Kevin, thanks for having me on today.
Honor to have you here on KIDO Talk Radio in Idaho. So what is the current state of the Republican Party, sir?
I think it's pretty solid. First off, we've had done very well raising money this cycle so far, $158 million, most of that in small dollar contributions, which shows that our folks are excited and engaged. They're just not dressing up in black pajamas and setting cars on fire, but they are showing up and voting, and they are writing checks in support of the president and his agenda. In addition to that, we've seen the president's approval ratings tick up. The economy is doing extremely well with the Republican passed tax cuts from last December and the regulatory reform that's taken place. I know that's something that folks out in Idaho really appreciate. And all these things put us in a situation where when Republicans campaign in November, they can say promises made, promises kept on all of those issues. And we've got economic growth and some good signs of the economy continuing to expand in the months ahead.
Now, being that you're from Ohio, that is the bellwether of the bellwether states. How do you see things playing out? I mean, I guess you're a Columbus guy, or are you from God's country, Northeast Ohio?
No, I'm from Northeast Ohio. I grew up in Akron, but I currently live down here in Delaware County, just north of Columbus. And the people that I talk to they feel good about where things are. The unemployment in Ohio has finally caught up with the rest of the country and ticked down. And we've got opportunities out there for people that have more money in their pocket. They look at this president as somebody who promised to do a number of different things, and he kept all those promises. And and for a politician, that's a rare thing indeed.
Well, no, it's a small world because I'm from Akron, graduated Akron U, so it's a little joke.
Oh, you're kidding me. When did you graduate from Akron?
93.
Okay, 89.
Yeah, I taught in Akron Public, Lone Star Fraternity, and everything else. So it's a small world, and we don't want to isolate the folks here in Idaho, but whenever we have...
Akron is the center of the universe.
where all good things come from, sir. So, as someone who has, and Akron, Ohio is a lot like Idaho. You have a lot of working class folks. You have people that have made their way up. Akron U, a lot like Boise State here. You, as someone who has been, self-made yourself, working for, Portman there, working for the president, being at the highest levels, what's that like for you? And can you inspire folks here to pursue their dreams?
Well, I think that's the great thing about this country is, my dad worked for Cyberlink Tire and Rubber, and so we weren't a political family or anything like that. But, whether it's politics or business or entrepreneur, anybody in this country can do anything that they put their mind to and put some effort into it. I think that's one of the things that makes America such a great place is we're not a country of class. Or station or anything like that. And so, Ohio's a great place to do politics, because you've got, it's like the rest of the country. It's just a small version of the United States. So I've been blessed to have a lot of opportunities here, and I'm just grateful for those.
Bob Paduchek joining us, co-chairman of the RNC, Kevin Miller here at KIDO Talk Radio. Sir, let's talk about getting through the negative. It hurts the Republicans all the time. The press says it's over. We remember election night. We remember this. We remember that. Yet the president and the Republican Party continue to beat the negative expectations of the press. How do you cut through the clutter?
Well, I think we're able to do that very well. One of the things that surprises me, I get the opportunity to travel across the country, and when I talk to people that support the president, whether they're Republicans or independents or disaffected Democrats, I'm surprised by how knowledgeable they are. I mean, folks know that Chuck Schumer is using the filibuster to create a tyranny of the minority to stop appointments for this president in the executive, that they're slowing down. They're the reason we have the budget problems that we have. We can't get a budget passed in the Senate because of the filibuster. And I'm heartened that people are aware of these issues. And the reason they know about this is they either from social media or from programs like yours, they know that the mainstream media, when they report on things, a lot of times it's based on hyperbole and sensationalism, or they take things out of context, or it's just fake. And so, that makes me feel good about what we're doing. I do think we're breaking through. The president himself is able to break through the clutter. That's one of the reasons he was able to get elected, even though he was outspent more than 2-1 by Hillary Clinton's campaign and her allies.
When we take a look at Congress, everyone is saying, oh, this is going to be the worst ever. I mean, again, you're from Ohio, the bellwether state, where Republicans always exceed expectations. Your thoughts on the national election?
Well, there's a couple of things. Historically, we always have a challenge, the party that has the White House in these midterm elections. So we take that very seriously. But if you look at the things that you can do to prepare for that, make sure you raise the resources that you have so you can get your message out, which we're doing and we continue to do. Make sure that you have a good message for your candidates. Tax cuts, regulatory reform, job creation, border security. All these are winning issues for our party. And as we campaign and we talk about those issues, we know that they're popular with American voters. It puts us in a good spot. And so going in, it's a tough fight, no doubt about it, but going in, feel as good as we could be about the leadership of our party and what we've done today.
Mr. Paduchek, anything else you'd like to share with us today? We appreciate you, and like I said, props to you for for living the dream and achieving the highest levels and from our mutual humble beginnings.
Kevin, thank you much. I tell you, I've been out to Idaho a couple times to do some fly fishing in the Snake River, and I need to get out there again soon. So hopefully I'll make it out west.
Well, you have a home here, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
All right. Bob Paduchik joining us, co-chairman of the Republican National Committee, again, from the same part of the country that I'm from. I apologize for that little tit for tat, but it shows you that you can achieve stuff where, again, where I lived before, joining the radio, whatever you want to call it, or, being a military brat, people worked hard and then living the American dream. And Mr. Paduchik is certainly an example of that. Here you have a man who did such wonderful things and now is working with the president. Coming up next, we'll talk about the governor's race. Take your phone calls next at 580-5436. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Hey, Kevin Miller in the morning here, KIDO Talk Radio. If you missed any part of this program today, you can go to KIDOTalkRadio.com and check it out. By the way, great blog there, if I do say so in my self-serving way, concerning negative advertising and whether or not it's impacting this race. And speaking of other things impacting, remember Kevin Miller's cash codes. Listen for your chance for the cash code words at 605, 805, and 305 with Kevin Miller and Sean Hannity Afternoons. Kevin Miller Mornings, Sean Hannity Afternoons. Weekdays for your chance to win up to $5,000. Up to $5,000. Man, that's awesome. Details at KIDOTalkRadio.com. Let's go back to the phones, and we go to Tea Party Bob on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Miller. How are you this morning?
That was just kind of a flashback to Kevin Miller in his prime. One day you have one person on, the next day you have the other, and back and forth. We're slowly getting our training back in gear here as we get ready for this primary May 15th.
Well, maybe we should go back to the Saturday mornings 5 to 8. What do you think?
Yeah.
Those were tough times, let me tell you.
You got to love it. You and Patriot Ray, and sometimes the reluctant Steve Ackerman, but yes.
I have to say, after listening to Tommy answer questions and pontificate about how he's going to fix the health care insurance system, I'm even more skeptical of the rhetoric that he has been tossing around with his ads about the other candidates. He had an opportunity to defend himself on the accusations he made about the Congressman Labrador, and he really declined to do so. It's my contention that if he has no evidence for making these derogatory accusations, he's not going to say anything, but it's okay for his PAC to run damaging ads. He doesn't want to be caught saying himself these things because he really has no evidence. Tommy keeps talking about how he's going to fix health care, but I still haven't seen a plan to do that, just a lot of talk. He was an ER doctor for 15 years in the system, and he should have been aware of the problems that were developing while he was involved. I don't remember a time or even a word that he said about the cost of insurance and how it was spiraling out of control. He sure wasn't a voice of reason in 2014 when the state exchange was put into effect in a red state. I don't hear him arguing about the bad changes the lieutenant governor and the governor recently made by executive order to swing the sickest people over on Medicaid and take them off regular insurance to save money on premiums so the insurance companies get more money. Tommy's been in long-term relationships with the insurance company CEOs, and he said so in a taped interview. I think if he were sincere about making changes, he would have come out and talked about these things long before he decided to run for governor. As for him continually referring to Trump, he's anything but a Trump, and in fact, he is nothing close to a Trump. He is right about the cronyism in the state. And I have been talking about that for 5 years. You know that. But what did he do about it before this election campaign? I don't remember him being at the Capitol testifying before committees on so many of the subjects that he claims to want to fix. He talks about saving $100 million in taxes, when in reality he's saying that he's just going to reallocate the money to his priorities. I'm not buying what he's saying because he has been behind the scenes and a player in the crony establishment, and the testimony to that is the many tax dollars he used on urban renewal projects. He talks about the fact that he walks the walk. I don't believe that. Labrador has a good record as a conservative, and I'd rather vote for someone who has proven themselves over the years than to take a chance on Johnny-come-lately posing as a conservative with no real history of fighting for conservative values. And that's just about the end of my story here.
That's the bottom line. All right, Tea Party Bob, GemStatePatriot.com. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right, let's get to traffic and weather together. You know, I thought I would make it through this show without saying Larry. I mean, how dare Larry take a vacation? Good morning, Cindy, on KIDO Talk Radio.
Well, good morning, Kevin. You did learn one fact today. Diet Coke is really not, or Pepsi, or whatever, good for you, but water with lemon is. So that is a good fact. But I would like to speak to words. You know, I would just say I am so tired, whether it be the Idaho Press Tribune using the AP with using just vitriolic words, or even Mr. Alquist. You know, when you start attaching words to people, like he used the word unhinged about a politician. Well, I just was reading through the paper. I am sickened by what happened, and I'm gonna call it a word a reporter used about Mr. McGregor, that fighter that got into that melee backstage.
Now, wait a minute, Cindy. You're going Conor McGregor?
I am going Conor McGregor as an example, because I think what they did to our president, you know, he got charged with in that melee. It said that he was fueled by revenge. Well, you know what? So is the FBI and so is Mueller. Let's just call it out.
Now, wait a minute. Let me ask you something. Did Dr. Alquist say that Congressman Labrador is coming unhinged?
Yeah, he used the word unhinged. Yes, he did, sir. I listened to the whole thing. And
Ray, did you catch that?
Yes, he did. I copied it down. Unhinged.
All right.
I wrote it down. But you know what? It's the same thing what they do in the paper. Now, what the words that they use against this president in a very sneaky kind of way. And then look what they just did, Kevin. Look what they just did in raiding that lawyer's. It's a raid. You know, Conor McGregor gets then charged with felony, criminal mischief, menacing, reckless endangerment, and I am just so sick. Our president is right. This is nothing but a bunch of hoodlums, which I'm equating to the FBI that went in there. They're hoodlums. You know, they're talking about Conor McGregor running a pack backstage. Well, I mean, where is this ever going to stop? Frankly, I would fire him. Have the guts, Republicans. Get out there. Stand behind your president and get this Mueller out of there. Chuck Schumer, he's just another hoodlum, too.
Now, really, wait a minute. You're calling the FBI hoodlums, and you're saying that...
Yes, I am using the same term.
This is what I love about this show, though. I mean,
what?
You're pretty hip if you're going Conor McGregor.
I am.
You are.
Yeah, I am. I mean, I'm saying the same words that the article used in your very biased Idaho Press Tribune, that we use every word. They do it so good, though. I mean, they almost support Hamas over. I mean, everything I read through them, it's like they're very good, subtly using the AP what they do.
They're all media manipulators. Cindy, I got to run. Thank you.
You are right. Let's fight back. Come on, support our president.
All right, our great friend Cindy going Conor McGregor on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning.